Okay, I'll say it. I've been playing Yu-Gi-Oh! A while, and I have never seen an archetype as hyped as this one in such a short period of time. The new Evil Twin, or Live Twin, depending on what people call it, archetype is very, very popular with the community already. These cards were revealed less than a day ago at this point, and people are very, very excited. We see there's already a game mat in the OCG that's been announced for the deck. I don't think these cards are very good. I don't think people really care about that. There is so much fan art about these cards on Reddit and Twitter already. This seems like a fan service archetype at its core. That being said, in today's video, I want to go through and look at each one of these cards and kind of give my opinions on them, because they're not terrible, they're just not that great. For your information, these cards are being released in Genesis Impact, which will reach the TCG in early December later on this year, so we won't see these cards for a few months. The core of this archetype is centered on two monsters in the main deck, and these are the backstory here. I know people in the comments will write the real backstory, but I think what I understand it to be is that these are the online personas of these characters. They're streamers or YouTubers or whatever, and then they have their real life personas and they do heists and stuff, which is pretty crazy. But anyway, the first card is Live Twin Kill, I think it's pronounced, and it has two effects. If this card is normal or special summon and you control no other monsters, you can special summon one Lila monster from your hand or deck. The second effect is pretty bad. Each time an opponent's monster declares an attack, you gain 500 life points. Now, what do you think the other side of this archetype does, the other twin? Well, the other twin does basically the same thing here. So the other twin special summons the first one that we just looked at if you control no other monsters when you normal or special summon it, and once again your opponent must pay 500 life points to declare an attack. Now, on their own, before looking at any of the other cards, these two cards aren't terrible. I mean, they're fine. Their second effects are basically irrelevant, but the normal or special summon effect to bring out another monster is pretty cool. There's not even any restrictions on those abilities. The problem is it's not really leading up to anything, as we'll see in this video. They have two spells and three traps, but the other spell is pretty much useless, so I want to focus on Live Twin Entrance first, because this is the better of the two, and also I feel that this is one of the most important cards for the deck. It really does help all of the combos work. Live Twin Entrance is a quick play spell that says discard one card, special summon one Kill or Lila monster from your deck, but you cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck for the rest of this turn after this card resolves, except Evil Twin monsters. The tricky part here is that you need to be able to activate Live Twin Entrance when you have no other monsters, because if you don't do that, you then can't trigger the Kill or the Lila's effects when they're special summoned. This card itself doesn't have that requirement, but like I said, the actual monsters will not get that special summon effect unless you control no other monsters. This is a problem because both of the link monsters reward you for having the twins on the field, but you can only activate the twins effects if you control no other monsters, which makes it kind of weird, right? Because you want to have multiple copies of the twins on your field while you're link summoning. Anyway, the first extra deck monster is Evil Twin Kill, so this is the alternative form of that monster we just looked at. The materials here are two monsters, including a Kill monster, so it actually can at this point use itself to summon itself, but more often than not you'll want to be using the other version of this card, the smaller level 2 monster version. So the first effect is that if this card is special summoned and you control a Lila monster, you can draw one card, so pretty decent. The second effect is during the main phase, if you control no Lila monsters, as a quick effect you can special summon one Lila monster from your graveyard, but you cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck for the rest of this turn except Fiend monsters, so not as restrictive as the quick play spell. Evil Twin Lila, on the other hand, obviously requires Lila as part of its materials and then any other random monster. The first effect is if this card is special summoned and you control a Kill monster, you can target one card on the field and destroy it. The second effect is pretty much just the second effect of the other link monster, but this time you summon a Kill monster instead of a Lila monster. So in my mind, the combo is pretty straightforward. But you want to activate the quick play spell, discard a card, special summon the Lilla or the Kiss a Kill from your deck, and use its ability to special summon the other one from your deck. And then you need one extender, just any extender that can put a monster on the board. So like danger monsters, spell striker, pretty much anything, because while the quick play spell does restrict you from your extra deck summons for the rest of the turn, they can only be evil twin monsters, you're not restricted from your other special summons, which means that you can special summon like any random monster from your hand, and then depending on what your opponent has on the field, depending on who's going first or second, you'll summon one of the evil twins using the extender that you special summoned, which means that you'll trigger the on-field effect. So for example, if you're going first, you probably want to summon the evil twin Kiss a Kill because that one draws you a card. So you would use the Kiss a Kill level 2 monster you have and a random danger monster, for example, summon this thing, and because you control the Lilla still, you can then draw one card. That is not the worst play ever. I mean, it does require having a couple specific cards, and it doesn't really do that much for the investment that it costs. You have to have the quick play spell, you have to have a discard, you have to have an extender, and the final result there is that you draw one card. Not super flashy, but in my mind that is the basic combo. But let's look at some more cards. The big boss monster is Evil Twin Kiss a Kill hyphen Lilla, and I believe this is them on their heist. I'm not entirely sure there, but I believe that's what the lore is behind these monsters. Cannot be normal summoned or set, must be special summoned from your hand or graveyard, which is kind of interesting. By tributing 2 link monsters, you can use the one effect of this card's name once per turn. If this card is special summoned, you can make your opponent send cards they control to the graveyard until they control 2. Kind of like an evenly matched effect because it requires your opponent to send cards to the graveyard. So if they have a big board, maybe this can demolish the entire thing. And the second effect is gains 2200 attack and defense while there's a Kiss a Kill monster and a Lilla monster in your graveyard, which almost certainly you will have in your graveyard. If you're tributing 2 link monsters, you're probably tributing the 2 link monsters that require Kiss a Kill and Lilla to be on the field, which means that you'll have those in your graveyard. So this card does a couple things. First off, it is a Kiss a Kill and a Lilla monster, so if this thing is on your field, when you summon either one of the link monsters, it will trigger their effects. And also, if you wanted to, although I'm not really sure if it's that valuable, but if you wanted to, you could use this monster as the material for either one of those link monsters. This card's alright. I think forcing your opponent to break their entire board except for 2 cards is useful, but maybe not as good as you might think it is. One of the problems, as you'll see, and we're going to look at the rest of the cards in a second here, but one of the problems is that these cards don't really have a lot of ways to stop their opponent from doing things, so your opponent could simply negate this ability. If they have a big board where this card is really good to demolish that entire field, they're probably also going to have a negation effect. That being said, in combination with like Forbidden Droplet or Darker No More, yes, this card is quite appealing, especially because it'll pretty much always have that 4400 attack points, which is a pretty big amount. The field spell is a Live Twin Channel, and it says when a monster declares an attack, you contribute 1 Kiss a Kill or Lilla monster, negate that attack, so not very good. During each end phase, you can target 1 Kiss a Kill or Lilla monster in your graveyard, shuffle it into the deck, or if you control no monsters, you can add it to your hand instead. I would say in comparison to other recently released field spells in modern Yu-Gi-Oh, this one is below average. Neither effect is super impactful. I think if it had one good effect, it could have either one of these or both of these effects and the field spell would be fine. These are cool like bonus effects. I mean, think of like Hidden City, where it has a searching effect, but also it has the attack blocking effect. But it seems like the main effect of this card is a slow recycling ability or an attack blocking effect that requires you to tribute a monster. So yeah, not super impressed with Live Twin Channel. I'm sure people will play this card, or at the very least try it out when they first build the deck, but I'm not sure realistically how powerful, how impactful this card actually will be. But we still have 3 trap cards. So there's Evil Twin Present, a normal trap that says if you control a Kiss a Kill monster and a Lilla monster, you can activate one of these effects. You can either target 1 Kiss a Kill or Lilla monster you control and 1 face-up monster your opponent controls, switch control of those 2 monsters, which isn't like the worst thing in the world, or target 1 set, spell, and trap your opponent controls, shuffle it into the deck. Honestly, both of these effects just seem kind of outdated. The first effect is like that TG trap card, which did see competitive success for a long time, but that was like almost 10 years ago, the last time that card was actually seeing competitive play. The second effect, I mean, is okay if you're playing against Altergeist or Guru or other back row based strategies, but other than that, I mean, this card just seems kind of weak. I don't know. Let's take a look at the other 2 trap trap cards, and then you guys can get an idea of what this deck actually is capable of. Evil Twin Challenge is a normal trap card that simply says, target one Kiss a Kill or Lilla monster in your graveyard, special summon it, then immediately after this effect resolves, you can link summon one Evil Twin Link monster using monsters you control. I like this card a lot. This is a very nice piece of support. Basically, you're trying to most often special summon the Evil Twin Lilla with this effect, and then you can pop an opponent's card, which is really, really nice. Now to do that, you will have to already have a monster on the field, because once again, the Evil Twin Lilla will not trigger unless you control the Kiss a Kill. Now that could be the regular Kiss a Kill, it could be the Link monster, it could be the boss monster, but you'll have to control some monster to be able to link summon the Evil Twin and actually trigger its ability. If your opponent isn't really doing anything too threatening, you could also summon Evil Twin Kiss a Kill and then get a free draw if you control the Lilla, but I feel like in most cases you're going to want to special summon the Evil Twin Lilla to pop an opponent's card, which is pretty decent. I wish this card was a quick play spell. That would be a lot more impactful, a lot more competitively viable, but it's alright as a trap card. I mean, I like trap cards, you guys already know that, but yeah, I really feel like this card maybe should have been a quick play spell, but we'll wait and see if it's good enough to actually see play at tournaments. The last card we're looking at in today's video is Evil Twin Easy Game. You contribute one Kiss a Kill or Lilla monster to activate one of these effects. You can either target one Kiss a Kill or Lilla monster you control, it gains attack equal to the tributed monster's original attack until the end of this turn, or when a card or effect is activated that would destroy a card or cards on the field, negate that effect. I mean, the card just isn't very good. This is probably like the worst card of the entire bunch. You just really don't see a lot of these cards, like almost half of them really, like this card and the first trap we looked at and the field spell. I just don't see them being very good, but I feel like you might have to play them just because there are more cards that work with your main engine. And also, now that we've looked at all the cards, notice how none of these cards search any other cards in the archetype. Although I suppose the good news is that because of the typing of these cards, you actually do have some searchers that are outside of the archetype. So while you can't search these spells and traps, you can still use stuff like Lady Debug or Signet Mining or even Chaos Space to search the boss monster. While that might not be quite as good as if this deck actually had dedicated searcher cards that could search the monsters or spells or traps, they at least give you something. So on a pretty consistent basis, you can open with one of the two main deck level 2 monsters. So in the future, I think it would be cool to see a card that specifically searches Live Twin or Evil Twin cards, not just cards that generically support Cyberse monsters, so that you not only have ways to search the monsters with generic Cyberse support, but also you have ways to search the spells and traps, at least the ones that you would want to play. That being said, there are probably more cards for this archetype. Whether or not those are going to be in Genesis Impact, I have no idea, but they could theoretically release more cards for the Evil Twin / Live Twin archetype in Genesis Impact, or maybe in a core set later on. I will say I think Konami almost certainly will do that at some point because of how much hype I have seen for this archetype, for this theme in the past like less than 24 hours. That being said, right now with this package of cards, I'm just not seeing even a rogue level strategy. These cards are just not impactful enough. If you open the monsters or the quick play spell, it is actually not that bad, but the other cards are just not good enough in my opinion, but I'd be happy to be proven wrong. I mean, obviously people really care about these cards. Obviously there's going to be a lot of people trying them out. I'm sure there's already several deck profiles right now using these new cards. But for me, when I see these cards, other than the artwork that obviously a lot of people are attached to, I'm just not seeing a lot to really sell this archetype. But I'd be happy to see more cards in the future that really push it over the edge. They have a good set of like core cards and then a couple random support cards that aren't super good, but with that core set of cards, some powerful special summoning effects and two pretty good link monsters and a pretty good boss monster, maybe with a little bit more support that's a little bit more impactful, maybe some searcher cards, this actually could be a fairly decent archetype, which I think a lot of fans would be happy to see. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching today's video. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.